all you Sister Wives fans. My name is Jenny. This channel is called Senior Perspective on Sister Wives. Added the on Sister Wives to the end of it because I do have a sub channel that has all the other reality TV reviews on it called Reality TV Breakdown, and the link is down below. But today we are talking, is Robyn a hoarder?
She's a hoarder!
And is my Sister Wives closet a thing? Let's talk about it. As expected, we have Mykelti being the Robyn apologist. I've just started following her Patreon, so I wonder if she's ever said anything negative really about Robyn. Let me know. I feel like there was something that she said once. I know she said a couple snarky things about her father.
Well deserved.
So in terms of Robyn being a hoarder, Mykelti agreed that Robyn and Cody have a lot of stuff. There's the understatement of the year, right? They have a lot of stuff. Okay, that's one way to put it. But she said it's not hoarded. Now, I do have to say, I probably agree with her. Now, as she goes on, I'm not going to agree with her, but if we were to stop this right at this point, I would say, okay, yeah, she's not a pure hoarder as it is defined by hoarders. It's not like hoarders like she's going to end up on the television show Hoarders. But she gets a lot of stuff. And I think there's multiple reasons for that, personally. Here's my opinion. This isn't what Mykelti said. I'm going to change this little segment to Jenny Speaks instead of Mykelti Speaks. Okay, so this is what I'm thinking. One, the woman has a lot of time on her hands, right? Can we all agree? She doesn't have a job, and we'll get to the second part of this question later regarding my sister wife's closet. No job, and a nanny in the house with teenage kids who are capable of helping out too. What does she do with all her time? Well, she shops.
Shopaholic.
Sounds like it.
We know she shops. We know that there was 30 grand in debt that she owed. We know this is the reason why her husband filed for divorce. He wanted to buy a house. He didn't realize the amount of credit card debt she had run up until he went to apply for a mortgage and they informed him, look at your credit report. And he knew that she was a shopper and a spender. Obviously, it was a bone of contention in their marriage for all the years they were there because that was the straw that broke the camel's back. And that's when he filed for divorce. Now Robyn rewrites the story and paints it in a whole different way, that she left because he wasn't a good father and he was an abusive husband. But she didn't leave because of that, and she never filed for divorce. And the courts ordered all the debt for her to be paid. All the credit card debt anyway. They owned a truck. They had a lease on it, and he had to pay the lease on the truck. He probably also received the truck, so fair's fair. All right, so the woman can spend well beyond her means. So now she has got all this money coming in from all the other wives. The family fund is growing and growing and growing. And what is she doing? She's shopping, shopping, shopping. People have found photos of boxes stacked up in front of her house. I've seen the aerial shots of the house. You know, they kind of do what is that? I can't think of the name of it. The little camera thing that takes the aerial shots above the house. I'm getting old. Anyway, the pictures of that when they show the bottom level of the house. Now, their main living quarters in terms of the kitchen and the living room are not on the lower level. And of course, it's like built into a mountain, so it's hard to say. It's not really a basement because there's full windows and you can walk out. But it's partially kind of built into the mountain. And the upper level walks in from the driveway. So that shows you how much the pitch of the land is. So on that lower level, it has these big, beautiful windows, and you can tell it's a finished basement, but it's boxes, 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 boxes. And I believe this is what a lot of people are referring to when they're referring to hoarders as well. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. This was Mykelti's not so good rationale for why she has so much stuff.
So this answer actually needs a little bit of unpacking. Honest answer, no, they're not hoarders. They do have a lot of stuff, but every time I go in their house, their stuff is very much used. It's not cluttery.
Debatable.
It's not like in the space. They have like, everything has a purpose and a place essentially. So no, I don't think that they are hoarders.
And here's McKelty again, answering a question with an answer that may be true, but doesn't really answer the question. She said with each house that they moved into, they acquired more living space, they needed more furniture, they needed more decorations, they needed more stuff to fill it up. So they've acquired more stuff with each house that they've bought.
I think one of the reasons why they have so much stuff is because you kind of buy stuff to fill the space that you have in a way. So they're not hoarders, but they do have a lot of stuff, but they have a lot of space to use that stuff as well.
Okay, I guess I can buy into that. When I first got married, my husband and I lived in a 500 square foot condo. No kidding, studio. We eventually graduated and bought a 750 square foot studio until we eventually could save up enough to buy our first house. I will admit, with each time that our space got larger, we acquired more things. We had a few more decorations on the wall. We had a few more pieces of furniture. However, never in any of these properties did I buy a whole bunch of, in my opinion, ugly art and plaster it on every wall. She's got it all over the place. It's like she can't stand to have a bare space on the wall. I can't stand to have that much clutter on the walls. Their house gives me anxiety to look at. They have this big, huge, beautiful home, lots of windows, and yet it feels dark, cluttered, claustrophobic, because there's so much stuff. So yes, they bought more. They bought a lot more. Will they ever be able to resell that art? I don't know. I don't know who's going to buy it. They probably think it's an investment, but to who? Where's the market for that? Now also, let's talk to the fact that every single flat surface space in her home was covered with either tchotchke or junk. So it was either like just cluttered little junky things, collections, or just random stuff all over it. Again, my heart starts to race even thinking about it. Like there wouldn't be a place to put, at times, a cup down because all the surfaces are just covered with everything. And when the camera panned back at Christmas time, there was stuff and piles of stuff all over the floor, down the hallways, in the living room. The couch and the chairs were all covered in stuff there too. I will give her the fact that at Christmas time, your house gets messier. Mine does too. Kids open up stuff, you have the paper and all that stuff, their gifts are all around. But I'm telling you, by noon in my house, the paper is all in a big box for recycling, and everyone's gifts are folded back up under the tree, ready to take home if they don't live nearby, or to show grandma when she comes to visit, whatever. But they're not in the way, so we can still walk about, socialize, visit with each other without all feeling like we're living amongst a mess. And if I had cameras in my house, I don't think it would even go till noon. Honestly, my mother always told me, people will always show you who they are. If you see a couple out in public arguing, just imagine what happens behind closed doors. Words of advice from Jenny's mom.
Speaking words of wisdom.
She also said, don't wear so much makeup that if one day you go to the grocery store and you don't have makeup on, people are shocked. or they don't know who you are. That's a freebie for you. Completely unrelated. Jenny's mama's words of wisdom.
Whisper words of wisdom.
Well, I apply these words of wisdom to Robyn because I think she knew TLC cameras were coming, and this is what her house looked like. Anytime they were in the house, which was so minuscule, she never let the TLC cameras in there. Most of this footage that we have are from iPhones that people were taking videos of and sharing with TLC. Do you wonder if maybe it wasn't COVID? Do you wonder if maybe Robyn just can't cope and keep up with everything? Do you remember when Christine said that she's worried about Robyn as the only wife because she's not able to handle it? Like she's not going to be able to handle what it takes because she's ridden on everyone's coattails all this time. This might be the same kind of thing. She doesn't even know where to begin to clean up, so she doesn't even try. She just throws her hands up and goes and buys more packages. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff. Clinically classified as a hoarder? No. Off the cuff comparisons when talking to your friends about somebody's house? Hoarder house. A lot of times people's environments are a reflection of how they think and feel inside. When everything is chaotic and disturbed and messed up inside, that oftentimes their environment is the same way. And they may understand it and it may make sense to them, but to somebody else it might look like, this is an utter disaster. I don't understand this. You know, the classic college professor who's really like an Einstein, but his office is just like papers and books hanging off the shelves and that. But you ask him something and he can go right to the thing that he knows where it is. I wonder if that's partly what's going on with Robyn.
Just to clarify,
that she's just kind of like so scatterbrained, mixed up, confused, overwhelmed inside, and thus it manifests itself on the outside. I don't know. But she's clearly never taught her kids how to clean up. Why does she have a nanny? Why doesn't she have a maid? She can't have a cleaning lady because you can't even clean. There's too much junk around to clean. You literally need a maid who's just going to pick up after you. But we know Cody's not going to lift a finger. And it sure seems clear that her kids aren't either. So I dismissed McKelty's explanation. Oh, they have a bigger house, so they just bought more stuff. Wrong answer. Now, talking to all the boxes that are in the basement. Here we go. This goes into the next question, which was,
Is my sister wife's closet a thing?
and she said, well, yes and no.
Oh, geez, here we go again.
Gee, where have we heard that before? She said that the website goes up and comes down and up and down at different times, just kind of, I don't know, depending on how busy Robyn is. She didn't really explain that. She's like, oh, at times it's up and then other times it's down. That's a great business model. I don't understand. I know I tried to look into it about a month or two ago because I was really curious about the price point of the jewelry and it was not available. And I had looked about a year ago also for the same thing. And nothing, it said like, sorry for our construction or something like that. Site will be back up soon, something to that effect. It said the exact same things both times. Now, did it come back up and go back down in between? Maybe. If there was a place to put your email address in, I probably would have, and I've never gotten an email from them. So, but maybe it never had that option either. So Robyn, the person who doesn't know how to work or hold down a job, wants to start a business, but wants her sister wives to do all the work. She just wants to be the designer of the, oh, so ugly jewelry that looks like, I was going to say it looks like stuff you could buy at Claire's, but like it's worse. This isn't stuff my kids would ever buy. And their price point was $100, $200 for a piece of this jewelry. What were they thinking? McKelty goes on to say that my sister wife's closet was always intended to be something that was going to be a lot of different accessories, and they were going to design it all. But as it turned out, they just designed the jewelry. And according to McKelty, all 4 wives and Cody designed at least one piece of jewelry. I would love to see what all the different people designed. If you know that and you have pictures, share down below. Or if you have a link to where you know somebody's shown the jewelry and who designed it and what the price point is, let me know. McKelty said they also had purses, but the purses were outsourced. So they didn't design them, they didn't make them. They just found another company and then sold them on their website. I'm curious how well the purses sold versus the jewelry that they had. Probably better, because they were probably a lot cheaper. I would love to know what those purses looked like. I'm curious what Robyn thinks would be a trendy looking handbag, if you will. Now, I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but you remember back when they went to San Francisco and Robyn's friend Kendra met them there because she's in the fashion world. Yes, this is the same Kendra who's a friend of the catfisher of Mary. Coincidence? Oh, I think not.
The first place that Kendra is actually found for us is called Elizabeth Charles.
Anyway, I digress. So Kendra meets Robyn there, and I could have sworn on that show that in the talking head, Robyn said, well, why we were going to meet with Kendra anyway, because we were looking to get into fashion on our website. So I don't know if Kendra was going to consult with her in terms of helping her design clothing. God forbid. Can you imagine how many ugly flowered blouses there would be? Anyway, I will take Mary's LuLaRoe any day over one of Robyn's flowered blouses. And sometimes the flowers aren't even that bad, but the style of the blouse is so dowdy and old that it makes it ugly. That those flowers on a different style blouse would look okay. It's not always the flower. Sometimes it's the pattern. Sometimes it's the ugly little jackets that are like really, really cheap polyester that look like they would go up in flames if they were near a stove. It's just the whole style, the whole look, not good. So the thought that Robyn would spearhead the designing of clothes for their website sort of blows my mind. Goes to show you in America, anybody can do anything. But we've learned in America, anybody can do anything, but that doesn't mean that anybody's going to be successful at anything. And McKelty's explanation for why My Sisterwife's closet never took off.
The other thing they wanted My Sisterwife's jewelry to be, My Sisterwife's closet, their jewelry to be, was a little bit more high-end. So a couple of things ended up happening with the high-end jewelry. They're honestly, how they went about manufacturing it and stuff, it was, personally, this is my personal opinion about it, I think it was a little bit too expensive for what it was. It's like for the quality and the metal and the price, it just wasn't quite the niche that they needed it to be, I guess.
Too expensive for what it was. Yeah, bottom line, price point didn't match the cheapness of the jewelry. She didn't say too expensive for what the price point of women in America are paying for jewelry. She said the price was too high for what it was. I have a piece or two from Brighton that weren't terribly cheap that I absolutely love. I occasionally will spend a little bit more money on jewelry that I think is beautiful. I'm wearing Tiffany earrings. I've worn these same sterling silver Tiffany earrings every day of my life for like the last 10 years. Still going strong. Quality. Tiffany's. But nobody's going to spend that kind of money on cheap stuff. And I remember when Robyn was upset that nobody was buying off their website, and she was mad at everybody out there for just looking at it. Hundreds and hundreds of people looking at the site, but nobody buying. Well, I guess they could tell right away the quality was not so good. And that was the first thing she said. I don't understand why people aren't buying. People don't appreciate good quality. This is sterling silver. This is good stuff. Well, yeah, this is sterling silver too, but it's good quality.
It's simple and it's timeless.
And it's cute. It says property of Tiffany's 925 on it. Very simple, basic, circles, goes with everything, as opposed to a sterling silver necklace with an S and a W, or a ring with an S and a W on it for sister wives. Who's gonna buy that?
Not me.
Not me.
Not me.
Not me.
Not me.
Not me.
Anyone?
They did zero market research, honestly. Do you remember when they got together and they met with investors? And those investors were like looking for their pitch, and their pitch was, well, women like jewelry. And we have a television show, and they know who we are. They're just going to buy from us, basically. That's kind of where they were coming from. Can't really blame the other ladies because they never wanted to be involved with this. It's all Robyn's fault. It's her brainchild, it's her baby, and Christine and Janelle from the get-go were dragging their feet and not interested in this. At one point, Cody just called it a hobby. I don't even think it's a hobby. I mean, because you have to have fun with a hobby. They're not having fun. I mean, a hobby is something that you put money in, and the return may or may not be what the money investment was, but it doesn't matter because you're enjoying the process of doing whatever the hobby is. No fun here. Nobody's having any fun. Not even Robyn. This is her whole idea, and she's not having fun. Not a business, not a hobby. What is my sister wife's closet? A waste of money. A drain on the family funds. That's what it is. Somebody just wrote in my comments in the past couple days, they were talking about how Cody had asked, I don't remember this either, another reason we need to go back and do a rewatch of the whole series, but Cody had gone up and asked the gentleman who married Tony and McKelty, the owner of the pawn shop in Lehigh it was, I believe. Is that where they live, Lehigh? I feel like it's another name. I feel like it's another city. It is another city. It was St. George, Utah. So in St. George, Utah, there was the pawn shop, and the guy and his wife were friends of Robyn and Cody somehow, or maybe the whole families, I'm not sure. And they were kind of sort of the parental figure up in St. George when McKelty moved up there. And he was the officiant for Tony and McKelty's wedding. Now, according to the person who wrote it down below, and I apologize that I don't have your name, but in an episode that I've forgotten about, Cody and the sister wives, Cody by himself, I'm not sure, but they asked him to invest in my sister wife's closet to get it off the ground, $250,000. $250,000. All I can say is I pray that those people make sure that they get their investment back. But in typical Brown fashion, she will probably claim bankruptcy on the business. And then you won't get a pittance back. You might get a couple thousand at most, because that's how bankruptcies work. This is why you never go into business with family or friends. McKelty went on to say that when the family moved to Flagstaff, that at that point, her mom, Christine, was not interested in my sister wife's closet anymore. She said that she felt Janelle was the same way. Now, all the inventory for my sister wife's closet was always kept in Mary's house back in Vegas. Makes sense. Mary had a 5-bedroom home and no kids living there because at the time her child was off in college. She said after they moved to Flagstaff, the inventory was divided between Mary and Robyn's house, and eventually it all ended up at Robyn's house, which makes sense because Mary was kind of like separating herself and eventually left. So I'm thinking it is very possible that the boxes we see stacked up in the basement are inventory for my sister wife's closet. Now, if that's true, then it's even worse that Robyn has taken the website down and not filling orders or trying to. If they have that much inventory, because it's just little jewelry, it should not take up much space, and there were multiple boxes stacked on top of each other. If that's what it is, oh, they have a lot of money invested in inventory, and somebody needs to be working the business. If it's not that inventory, I don't know how many thousands of square feet this home is, but it's enormous. I don't know how they could possibly have that many boxes of stuff just stacked up down there and not put away. Hoarder-ish. Hoarder light. These two stories go together, don't they? All right. So we ended with McKelty basically saying, it is Robyn's full-time job now. Well, when she works her job. Let's put it this way. It is Robyn's full-time responsibility to handle my Sisterwife's Closet website and fulfillment of orders. Nothing's happening. Are you shocked?
So currently right now, my Sisterwife's Closet isn't disbanded, but it's not an active thing. It's been on and off for the last several years of being active and not active. However, it is only in full-time Robyn's thing right now.
Maybe after all the other wives leave and she doesn't have nearly as much money, they only have 2/5 of the money that they're used to getting, and she might have to get a job and she realizes what it means to work, that she might decide at that point, maybe I should put some of my energy and effort into all of this stuff that we have here in the basement. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what the future holds. You take care. Don't forget, Thursday night, we have our first Senior Perspective live event. It's going to be at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope to see you there. Goodbye.